All right, welcome everybody. Very excited to be here with you today on this beautiful, almost spring-like day here in Budapest, Hungary, where I'm based. I am excited just to welcome so many people who've registered from all across Europe. I think this is a record number of registrations we've had. Big representation from Poland and Croatia, Romania, Spain, Hungary, and for the first time from Turkey. So welcome to all of you startup entrepreneurs and founders out there. To what I hope will be a really game-changing webinar for you, because you are going to leave here today with a tool that is going to enable you to explain in 8 seconds why your target customer should buy what you're selling, fundamental to everything you do in building a business. A few housekeeping rules before we start. This webinar is going to last about 45 minutes. Okay, that's going to include about 5-10 minutes of questions. Depends on you. If you'd like to ask a question at any time, please write it into the chat and I will answer it if we arrive to the Q&A. We will be recording today's session, but only me and my presentation will be visible. So all of you out there watching in underwear, don't worry about it. Nobody's going to know. If at any time there is a technical difficulty, the internet goes out, the screen freezes, whatever, please stay online and we will sign back as soon as possible. A few words of introduction. My name is Zoltan Vardy. I'm a business growth mentor, trainer, and speaker, and I work with entrepreneurs to help them find their focus and accelerate the growth of their business using a system I call the launch code. The launch code, very simply put, is a blueprint. It shows you how to build a successful business. It combines corporate planning methods with entrepreneurial execution to guide startup founders just like you on how to define, develop, and operate your company. This system sits at the heart of everything I do, all the content I produce, all the training, all the mentoring that I use to support entrepreneurs. And my 30 years international business stretches across about 20 years in the corporate world, mostly in the media industry, but also stints as an entrepreneur and an angel investor in several successful technology and professional services businesses. I'm so excited today because you are going to learn a couple of critical things. You're going to learn how to formulate your customer problem so that it has impact. You are going to learn how to define your target customer so it is very clear to everybody involved who you're speaking to. You're going to choose your product or service's key benefit. Of all the things that you can talk about, you're going to choose that single thing that makes a difference. And then you're going to highlight why you're better than the competition. In other words, you're going to know exactly what to tell your customers, your business partners, and your team about why your startup is in business. I think this is an amazing time to launch a business. In fact, there's probably no better time in history. I know all of us are overwhelmed with the impact that COVID has had on our day-to-day lives, but the reality is that early stages businesses like yours are absolutely thriving. I mean, there's a good reason why some of the most best known tech startups, ones like Airbnb, Instagram, WhatsApp, Uber, they were all started during the last great global recession of 2008. The reason is because with the tremendous impact of technology, the opportunity to test out various business models, the opportunity to sell across borders seamlessly, it gives you a better chance of success than ever before. And all this means is that you have the opportunity to experience all the personal rewards and the satisfaction that comes with creating something out of nothing. And I really truly believe that is the single most amazing thing in business when you create a new business. And my mission is to make sure that you are as successful as possible and to experience this magic. Now, what we're going to talk about today is a problem that I've discovered over the course of my hundreds of hours of mentoring startup founders. And that is about the need to create a clear value proposition. It's such a critical issue that for many early stage businesses, I strongly believe that if you don't get this fixed, if you don't get this right, you will be out of business. This is why I've chosen this somewhat dramatic title of today's event, Fix Your Value Proposition or Die. Now, I've worked with dozens and dozens of entrepreneurs over the years as an executive, an advisor, an investor. And I can't tell you how many times I've experienced the following situation. I'll start a discussion with the founder or CEO, and I'll ask him to explain to me in 1 or 2 simple sentences what their business does and why customers should buy their product or service. This is known in the business world as the value proposition. Now, in most cases, my question is either met with silence, because they can't really define it, or with some 5-minute monologue that doesn't really have a beginning or an end. Now, you would think that answering this simple question would be one of the first things as a business owner would learn, but so many people don't know how to. And the knock-on effect in your ability to build a successful business is huge. The marketing communication is probably confusing. The product development and sales are unfocused. And it's actually likely that if you're working in a team, that there's a lot of frustration within the team because they don't really understand what the company does. This is a situation I've encountered many, many, many times. Now, I would just want to share with you one example of how I was able to help a team of founders fix this exact problem. At the start of last year, I began working with a tech startup operating in the business of what's called social media analytics. So they basically analyze billions of online conversations in social media and various forums, and then they use this data to give their big company customers an idea of what consumers really think about their business or their product or their brand. Now, this company had been in business for nearly 3 years when I started working with them. And even after this much time in the market, they still had a problem explaining to me, and as a result to their potential customers, why anyone should do business with them. I don't know who was more confused, the founders or their customers. Well, here's what I did. I actually, in the course of just 2 one-on-one sessions, using the framework that I will show you in just a moment, we created a value proposition together that explained who they were, how they solved their target customer's problem, and why they were uniquely qualified to do this. Their value proposition statement was clear and easy to follow because we had created a connection between the problem and the solution they were offering. And it served as a foundation for all of their sales and marketing communication ever since. It's actually made their discussions with potential customers much better and more effective. It's even helped them focus their product development because they know that they have to develop the product in order to solve the specific need of a specific type of customer. So the impact is huge. And I joke about this, but it's true. If you actually get a clear value proposition, it's actually good for your health. Now you might think that's crazy, but the fact is, I actually see my clients physically relax, smile, their shoulders drop, and they just feel like there's just this really clear and comfortable feeling about what their company does. Now, the process I've used to help this company find its focus and is exactly the process I'm going to take you through today. Actually, it's principle number 1 of the launch code. This is this business growth framework I developed that combines corporate planning methodologies with entrepreneurial execution to guide you on how to create a successful business and just arrive at this sense of clarity and comfort along the journey. Now, towards the end of today's webinar, I'm actually going to give you a special opportunity to schedule a free follow strategy session with me where I will personally help you evaluate your value proposition and get you past any obstacles that are standing in the way of achieving your dreams. But stay tuned. I'll give you more details on this later. So let's get started. When I work with entrepreneurs, as I mentioned before, the first thing we start doing is defining the company's value proposition because it really sits at the heart of a successful business. A business without a value proposition is like a boat without a steering wheel or a rudder in the back. It's going to float on top of the water in the middle of the ocean, but it's going to go wherever the waves take you. If you get your value proposition right, you'll be able to convey a very clear message to a well-defined audience. And as a result, you're going to regularly attract new customers and grow your business quickly. Now, a value proposition has 4 key elements. First of all, it creates an identity or a defining characteristic for your business. It explains clearly who benefits from your product or service. It explains your product or service's key benefit. Of all the different benefits, what's the key benefit? And it explains what makes your solution unique or compelling. All right. So these are the things that we are going to be talking about today. I want to give you a couple of examples of value propositions for companies that you have probably heard of. Facebook. Who hasn't heard of Facebook? Facebook is a social media tool that helps people to communicate more efficiently with their friends, family, and coworkers by connecting them through an easy-to-use online platform. Very simple, right? That's a business-to-consumer business. Let's talk now about a business-to-business offering. Let's talk about Salesforce. What's Salesforce's value proposition? Salesforce is a software platform that helps businesses to improve their sales results by collecting and analyzing customer information and creating quality sales management processes. Now, there are instances where you will actually have to have a different value proposition for two different target audiences that interact with your business. A good example of this is Uber. Uber speaks to consumers, people like you who are going to be going and calling an Uber. They're also speaking to chauffeurs who present this as a business opportunity. So what does this look like? Uber is a car sharing service that helps city residents to travel conveniently 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by calling a ride with one click and tracking the driver. Clear enough. But what do they tell drivers? Well, they say Uber is a car sharing service that helps automobile owners to earn income using their vehicle to transport passengers by making their availability visible to potential customers. Two different value propositions for the same company, but to two different target audiences. I firmly believe that if you get this right, you should be able to read your value proposition in 8 seconds, okay? Every single one of these value propositions, and I checked, can be read in 8 seconds. That's how long it should take you to explain to your customers what your business does. Now, in order to create a clear value proposition, you have to go through 5 steps. I'm just going to highlight these very quickly, and I'm going to go into each of them individually. The first step is to identify your customer problem. The second is to identify your target customer. The third is to identify your product or service. The fourth, your key benefit. And the fifth, your competitive advantage. Once you have each of these 5 things defined, you can put together a very simple sentence that explains and focuses your message to potential customers. Now, before we get into that though, I've actually created a worksheet for you. So if you go to the chat room, you will see a link to a worksheet, okay? You can then go ahead and take this time now to click onto that link. It's a Google Drive link, and it will enable you to follow along with my logic. And actually, you can also use this workshop to help you finish the exercise and capture what you've learned from our time together today. So go to this link now, please, for those of you who are out there. It's in the Zoom chat now, and download the worksheet. I'll give you about half a minute to do that. You can either simply keep the sheet open on your computer if you have multiple screens, or you can download it onto your drive. It's up to you. It'll be available actually after the webinar is over as well, so you may choose to do it, to download it then. So just gonna give you another 20 seconds to download or to access this worksheet, and then we're gonna get started. Okay. So let's look at step 1. And in each of these cases, I'm going to formulate this in the form of a question. Okay. So the first question is, what is the customer problem that my business solves? Okay. If you operate a business-to-business service, typical problems are my customer needs to increase their revenues. They need to save costs. They need to boost their efficiency. They need to raise awareness about their business to their customers. The lesson I've learned is the closer you are to impacting your customer's bottom line, their profit level, the more must-have your product or service will become. And what I would encourage you to do is to write down in 1 or 2 sentences and do it in the voice of your customer. So when you say, my problem is I don't have enough time to take care of all of my social media marketing, or my problem is I need to build a bigger base of potential customers, or my problem is I spend too much time going from work to home, and I need a better way to do it. So try to put it in the point of, from the perspective of your customer. Once you identify the key customer problem, then the next step is you have to identify your target customer. And specifically, what are the key characteristics that define this target customer? Not just from a numbers perspective, but also from their thinking, okay? As it relates to the product or service. Again, writing in the first person, describe the customer who experiences the problem that you're trying to solve. There are 2 kind of terms you should learn. One is demographics. Demographics are facts and figures. So if you're speaking to an individual, what age are they? What's their income level? Are they men or women? If you're speaking about companies as your target customer, what's the revenue level? What industry is your company in? Is there a particular geographic location you're focused on? What are those facts and figures that you can identify that define your customer? The second type of description that you should write is your psychographic, okay? These are the emotional characteristics, like my customer believes that customer care is really important, or my customer doesn't want to waste time doing day-to-day chores, or my customer places a high value on a quick response time. Whatever it is that defines that customer's thinking, okay, write that down as well, because you want to make sure that you define both the demographic and the psychographic elements. Step 3, What is the product or service I offer my target customer to solve their problem? Okay. Now, don't think of something really too elaborate. Literally just give your product or service a simple name. Okay. Something that anybody would understand. Are you a marketing platform? Are you a software tool? Are you an e-commerce service? Are you a design agency or a technology firm or a B2B technology? Using simple words, define what it is that you actually are. Step 4, list all of the ways in which your target customer's life or business or other circumstances, whatever you're targeting, is going to improve by using your product or service, right? So what is the benefit of using your product or service? Make sure you define both practical and emotional benefits. So just when I talked about the target customer being demographic, psychographic, the benefits should be not just about rational things. So they will save time, or they will save money, or they will earn more revenue. These are, of course, important benefits. But what is it that's going to do to their feelings? Are they going to feel safer? Are they going to feel more successful? Are they going to experience a sense of comfort? Whatever it is that is both a practical and emotional benefit. Now, here's the tough part. And when I do this exercise with my clients, this is often where we get stuck, is you've listed all of these benefits, and you have to identify the single most important benefit based on your current understanding of the situation. Okay, this is your key benefit. And I'll talk a little bit about how you can actually do this a little bit later. Step 5, what element of my product or service is a competitive advantage? Okay, that is what makes my solution unique or more compelling than that of anybody else in the marketplace who's offering something similar. Now, what you'll actually find, is your technology safer or more reliable? Do you offer greater convenience? Are you better value for the price? And oftentimes, I'll find that your competitive advantage will actually be one of the benefits that you've listed under step 4. Okay, so that list that you've created, one of those things will jump out that will say, okay, well, this is really something that's really unique to us. Okay, and that would be your competitive advantage. Now, I always like to have a little bit of a test to identify whether the competitive advantage is really a competitive advantage. And so when you've identified that, just double check whether your special sauce meets these basic criteria. So your special benefit, your competitive advantage, should be meaningful. Okay, so it should be something your target customer values. It should be deliverable. Okay, something you can actually implement. So you don't want to overpromise. And third, it should be defendable. Okay, so something you can protect versus your competition. Now, obviously, the third bit is oftentimes the most difficult, but if you have a unique technology, if you have the rights to certain type of intellectual property, these are typically those type of things that are defendable. That is often the one that's missing in the link. Okay, so the outcome of all of these steps is going to be a single sentence, okay, that you will formulate based on the answers to this question. Okay, it'll be the value proposition statement. So you'll have whatever your company name is, a product or service definition, okay, that helps your target customer to whatever the key benefit is by doing such and such your competitive advantage. Okay, it's important that you don't actually list your customer problem in your value proposition statement, but it will be implied via the key benefit or the competitive advantage. Okay, now I'm going to show you some examples of these statements, but I just want to make sure you understand that when you create the sentence, the purpose is to be extremely clear and extremely simple. My example or my test is always, if you can read this to an intelligent 12-year-old, he or she should be able to understand exactly what your company does and why your customers should buy your product or service. If he or she doesn't understand it, it's time to rethink your value proposition. So let's just go back to those well-known companies' value proposition statements and see how these two things fit together. So Facebook is a social media tool that helps people to communicate more efficiently with their friends, family, and coworkers by connecting them through an easy-to-use platform. So there you see the connection between the different elements of the sentence and the actual elements that I've included into the statement. So let's look at this again for Salesforce. Salesforce is a software platform that helps businesses to improve their sales results by collecting and analyzing customer information and creating quality sales management processes. Again, a direct connection between the different elements of the sentence and what you're actually, the information you're putting in there. Now, I want to take just a moment to explain that, creating a clear value proposition through this process is critical to building a successful business, but it's really only one of the steps. All right. Look, every single one of you out there who's built a business or in the process of building a business knows that launching a business is hard work. I mean, you have so many decisions to make, so many directions you can take. Am I targeting the right customers with the right message? Who should I hire to strengthen my team? How do I raise funding to fuel my growth? And I just want to ask you just for a moment to think about how much easier it would be if you had a mentor by your side to help you fix these challenges, to answer these questions. And this is the opportunity that I want to offer you today. So it's an opportunity to tap into my 30 years of international corporate and startup experience and to be your guide as you grow your business. I've launched and managed businesses from New York to Los Angeles, from London to Budapest. I've worked with dozens and dozens of startup founders and small business owners and helped them find their focus and accelerate their business growth. And in a short time, I want to extend to you a really special opportunity for us to work together side by side and remove some of these obstacles that are standing in your way between you and your dream of building a profitable business. This opportunity is, as a first step, to book a free 30-minute follow-up strategy session with me, okay? To talk about your destination, your biggest goals, your challenges that are standing in your way, any number of opportunities to basically discuss through this 30-minute conversation to discuss how I can help you and what you need to do to find your focus. This is only available to those of you who have signed up for this webinar. And you will be receiving an email from me very soon with this special opportunity. And all you need to do is just click on that button that says book a free consultation. And after our session, you will have an opportunity to have this conversation. I've also put the link to book the strategy session into the chat right now. So you should be able to click directly on the Calendly link and book that time. Now, I'm not done with the value proposition because there's a couple of things I want to highlight for you, and as you look to evaluate your own value proposition. There's some classic sort of mistakes that I notice that people often make as they go through this process, and I'm sure you're on the right track, but here are some do's and some don'ts that you should keep in mind to get the greatest benefit possible from this exercise. Okay, the first benefit: make sure your value proposition is focused. So focus is really critical when creating your value proposition. It requires you to reject perfectly reasonable assumptions about your business and really take on other elements instead, because it actually requires you to say no to certain things. You can't be everything to everybody. And I say this all the time to my clients. It's like trying to boil the ocean, right? It just takes too long. It's just impractical. You never become a successful business by being the 7th or 8th or 9th best anything, right? You should define a valuable niche where you can be number 1 or number 2, and you stick to it. And if you're afraid of missing out on opportunities, which is often the case, keep this in mind. Once you successfully target a niche, you can always expand to a broader market later. A perfect example of this is Amazon, right? Before Amazon became the world's biggest retailer selling virtually everything to everybody, Jeff Bezos, the founder, focused on marketing one product to one customer, right? He sold books to technology-savvy book lovers. Okay, that's how he built the business. Second, share and integrate feedback. You want to validate your value proposition, okay, by taking on all sorts of feedback from people. Everything you've done so far is done in the abstract, right? I mean, you basically then need to gather insights and information from others who can give you sort of an outsider's perspective. So what are some ways you can do that? You can contact your extended network and get their insights. These people may have relevant business experience they can share. Every industry has its own ecosystem of suppliers, operators, customers. You can find them on LinkedIn, through industry conferences, company websites. You can contact them with a very simple message. I'm thinking of getting into this business and would love to get your thoughts on what I'm offering. If you record this feedback over time, you're going to start seeing certain patterns emerge. You're going to start hearing back the same feedback from people. And then you can integrate this feedback into your value proposition, into next versions of your value proposition. And this takes me to my third do, which is understand that it's a process, okay? Don't get discouraged if you don't get the value proposition right the first time, right? Getting it right it takes time. You're no different from our friend David Beckham here, who obviously has spent a lot of time looking for the right hairstyle until he finds the one that feels right. Startups have the exact same process, right? You probably have to create several versions before you start seeing its impact. But the great thing is, once you let go of some of these initial assumptions and you find that right value proposition, you're going to see your customers coming in, you're going to see your business growing, and it's going to be really a magical time. What are some don'ts? Well, the first is don't highlight your product or services features without including its benefits. This is a classic problem, right? You come up with this really, really interesting technology. It can do all these amazing things, but actually you don't explain why people should care, okay? So I'm XYZ Corporation. I'm the leading developer of nanotechnology, you'll say. Okay, but why is that good for my customer? Who cares? The second don't make the customer target too broad, right? There's a classic problem of trying to be everything to everybody, okay? And that's a mistake. Just because everyone can use your service doesn't mean everyone should use it. So by narrowing your focus, then you will find a clearer path to getting your customers. And the final one, don't fill it with industry jargon and buzzwords, all right? Especially in the technology-driven businesses, you'll find all sorts of really crazy buzzwords and short and three-letter short words and acronyms, they're called. These are always confusing. You again have to be clear that your value proposition should be understandable to an intelligent 12-year-old, and that is going to be your litmus test. Now, one of the things I offered in my call to the webinar was an opportunity to provide feedback to some of the value proposition information that you had shared with me. And what I want to do now is to take a few moments to evaluate some of the value propositions that were sent to me. Now, there was a bit of a mistake on the website form from a previous webinar, so there wasn't a direct call for sending in your value propositions, which I apologize for, but a lot of you sent in your website links, and so I actually went through these and I found what I would consider your value proposition statements in the About section or on the front page of your websites. And I want to show 4 or 5 of these. They're geographically diverse, so represented companies in Poland, Hungary, Croatia, Turkey, and I think all of you will benefit from hearing these. So let's take a look. The first one is from a company called Fitpuli. Okay, it says Fitpuli is the only digital employee wellness program that improves health in 6 key areas based on the recommendations of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, and does so in a way that is sustainable, scalable, and measurable through an easy-to-use, easy-to-love mobile app for less than the price of a cup of coffee per employee. Okay, so a couple of things. Let's just look at the framework of this value proposition. So the company name, obviously, is there. That's fine. Is a product or service. You call it a digital employee wellness program. Okay, maybe if I understand correctly, there's an app that's part of it. So maybe digital employee wellness app could be a better way to describe it. The target customer, to me, is not entirely clear. It's presumably companies because you're talking about employees, but I would have said it's a digital employee wellness program that helps small businesses or large corporations or whatever it is what type of companies you're evaluating. Key benefit. So this one is an interesting one because you have a lot of benefits: sustainable, scalable, measurable, easy to use, easy to love, and you also imply that it's inexpensive. That's 6 different things that you want people to remember. It's virtually impossible, right? So you really have to decide which one or some combination of which 2 or 3 really is going to be the benefit that resonates most with your target customer. Right now, you're trying to communicate too much, and as a result, you're communicating very little. And finally, the competitive advantage, it says it improves health in 6 key areas based on the recommendations of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. Fair enough. Maybe I would want a little bit more detail on what 6 key areas of those are, but maybe that's a second sentence. Bottom line, I think it's a decent first job. It could use a little bit of fine tuning. The second one. This is from a company called Talent Alpha. Okay, this is a Polish company. They sent in 1 slide about their company. And the 2 statements there were the complete talent intelligence and marketplace platform, ensuring you have the right talent at the right time to enable true business growth and transformation. So let's look at this from the base of the framework. The company name is missing, but there was a logo on the slide, so I'll let that slide. So it's called Talent Alpha. Now you say talent intelligence and marketplace platform. I wonder if that's a little bit too long. Maybe talent marketplace would be a better way to describe it. The target customer is not specific, right? It's ensuring you have the right talent. So is this targeting companies? Is it a particular type of companies? Is it companies in this particular type of industry? These are things that are important to clarify in your communication. 2, the key benefit. This is good, all right, because you said the right talent at the right time to enable true business growth and transformation. I think that's very clear. Okay, it's a talent placement platform. And the competitive advantage is missing, right? It's not really clear to me what makes you unique or different from your competitors. So that's talent alpha. Value proposition number 3. So this is actually from the website of a Croatian-based company. And let's just look at the framework. So it says Incubator Idea is a creative studio focused on visual communication, specializing in branding and identity. We are creating and redesigning brands. Our services including visual identities, marketing materials, packaging, websites, email, so very broad. Other materials necessary to create an authentic experience of the brand. We are solving each design task for clients ranging from small business to global corporations in both industries, business to business and business to customers. Okay, so this is a good one to talk about a little bit. Let's look at the framework. Obviously, this is much longer than one sentence, but again, in fairness, it was just it was a section of the website. Company name is fine. So the product service definition is a creative studio. Okay, that's fine. I get the sense you're really specializing in brand design. So maybe it's a creative brand design studio, would be a better brand design agency, maybe would be a little better way to describe you. The target customer is really interesting, right? It's the 3rd sentence. So we're able to solve each design task for clients. So basically, this agency is targeting everybody, right? Small businesses, global corporations, all industries, business to business, business to consumer. If you're trying to be everything to everybody, then you're nothing to nobody. So this is one where you really would have to focus on a specific segment in order to be able to break through, especially in such a competitive industry as brand design. Okay, so I would really encourage you to take a second look at that. The key benefit is to create an authentic experience of the brand. I think that's interesting, although maybe it could use a little bit more detail. And the competitive advantage right now is not clear. Okay, so let's take a look at the value proposition number 4. This is from a company in Turkey on the website, in the About section of their website. Oplog is a pioneer in the field of e-logistics, simplifying the cost, time, and resources needed for global businesses' supply chain operations. Operating as 4th-party logistics integrator, Oplog is able to help you gain market share with superior customer loyalty by providing a streamlined supply chain management system supported by meticulously executed order fulfillment, last mile delivery, and distribution services. Again, quite long. But I think you can that you can probably spend a bit of time shortening this. Based on the framework, company name obviously is there. Product service definition, you say is a 4th-party logistics integrator. Now, I'm not a logistics expert. I don't know, maybe that means something to somebody in that area. But I would think that's something that you would want to maybe clarify. The target customer to me is not clear. I don't understand who it is. I assume you're talking to big companies. Are there particular industries? Are there particular type of companies in particular areas? I think that you have to spend a bit of time identifying exactly the type of customer you want to reach. The key benefits help you gain market share with superior customer loyalty. Okay, I believe you. Competitive advantage, and then there's that long sentence that starts with by providing a streamlined supply management. So look, I think this is one of these ones where if you spend the time focusing a little bit, it would become much more clear. There's a lot of buzzwords, right? One of the things I mentioned is don't get into the habit of doing buzzwords. E-logistics and 4th-party logistics and superior customer, meticulously executed. These are all kind of things that I think people don't speak in those terms in everyday language. So I would try to simplify the overall language of this. And the one final one, okay, this is from a company in, again, Croatia. This is in the About section of the website. And I actually think this is a good one. It covers everything. It just needs a bit of editing. So it says Camp Web is a web mapping platform which aims to revolutionize the touristic camping industry by personalizing, informing, and connecting. Camp Map was created in response to many frustrations about how the camping industry was unable to provide the right level of choice and information to the millions of guests that go camping. Camp Map solves all these problems with an interactive mapping platform which delivers beautiful, consistent, and easy-to-use digital maps of campsites. It works seamlessly on all devices, providing the information and services you need in the palm of your hand. Okay. So what does this look like? Company name obviously there. Product service definition, you call it a web mapping platform. Campsite web mapping platform might be a better way to put it. The target customer is not stated, but it's sort of implied. You see information to millions of guests that go camping. So obviously active campers. Its key benefit delivers beautiful, consistent, and easy to use digital maps of campsites. I love that. I think that's really, really nicely put. And competitive advantage, it works seamlessly on all devices, providing the information and services you need in the palm of your hand. So I think overall, nice job. I would shorten it a little bit because it's difficult to follow everything, but overall, all the pieces are there. Nice job on this one. So here we are. And I want to talk now a little bit about, this opportunity to sign up for a free follow-up strategy session with me to discuss the value proposition, your goals, your challenges. And I'm actually certain if you sign up, you will leave that session with real tangible benefits. There's no question about it. I've done many of these and people do feel like they get good value out of that free session effectively. But here's the thing. I think I can really do even more to help you really understand the benefits and the personal satisfaction of launching a successful business simply by becoming your personal mentor. Now, as your mentor, I can help you find solutions to your biggest challenges, to guide you down that path towards reaching your goals and give you that sense of clarity and comfort I've talked about before. I've had the pleasure of mentoring more than 100 startup founders and small business owners over the years, many at very early stage of the development, others that are more advanced and are ready to scale. And I think I've come across pretty much every possible challenge that you can imagine and have helped my clients overcome these obstacles. This is something that I want to offer you as an opportunity, and just want to give you a bit of a taste of what this would look like. In all this experience, in this hundreds of hours of mentoring, I've used this launch code, this growth framework that I've talked about, to really capture the essence of what it takes to build a successful business. So it's these 10 building blocks. It combines all the best elements of planning and execution to create a clear blueprint for this process. And I actually use the launch code as the basis for all the mentoring that I do, combining its various principles to fit the stage of development that you're in and make sure you get the answers to your most important questions. I just want to look at these principles very briefly, each one, so you get a sense of what this is exactly. The first 5 principles are all about planning. Okay, it's a value proposition. We just covered this, how to explain clearly the problem you're solving for what type of customer and why you are better than the competition. The second one is product offering, how to package your product or service in a way that customers understand what they can buy from you. Okay, one of my clients is a UK-based startup in the music industry. I worked with the 2 founders to review and define their service offering so their target clients would have really 3 very clear options to consider that would make it easy for them to say yes. And 1 week after our 3rd session, they signed 5 new clients just with this approach. The third point is the business model. How to identify your key costs and revenue streams and price your service so you generate a profit. Okay, you want to make sure you generate a profit. And the final 2 pieces are interlinked. The first one, number 4, it's called destination plan. I do a destination planning webinar as well if you're interested, is how to decide where you want to take your business and why. And then finally, the 5th point is how to identify and follow through on specific actions that will take you to your destination. Okay, so these are the first 5 points of the launch code. The next 5 are really focused on businesses that are operational, that are working, and you might have hit some obstacles that you can't seem to overcome, and it's likely then you probably have an issue in one of these different execution principles. Number 6, communication. How to create a marketing message and brand that's so clear your potential customers are going to understand what you're selling. Okay, that's a very important communication element. Number 7 is sales and partnerships. How do you implement a targeted and scalable sales approach and create partnerships to leverage your growth? I really, really believe in the importance of partnerships, especially for early stage companies. Last week I helped this co-founder of a major B2B marketing platform figure out how to close a negotiation with a major Italian clothing manufacturer. They had been dragging this out for over a year, and we had evaluated the situation and we created an action plan. And I got an email from him just yesterday that he closed the deal. So I was really excited that I was able to help him with this. Point number 8, digital marketing and PR. This is about how you use digital marketing and PR to generate inbound interest and awareness for your business. Okay, so not just outbound sales, but inbound. And the final 2 are about operations. So how do you build a team with the right mix of skills and experience so you can execute your plans? And how do you access the money necessary to fund your growth and make the best use of the money you have? So I'm wondering, are any of these areas an obstacle to your success? Because if they are, I have helped hundreds of entrepreneurs just like you to fix these exact same issues. And I'm confident I can do the same for you. So how would this work in practice? Let me just give you a taste of that. If you hire me as your personal mentor, we'll start by identifying your key challenges. Okay. Sometimes I found the biggest problem isn't even what you think it is. So I make sure you focus on fixing the right things to achieve the greatest impact. The second, we'll set goals for our mentoring program. So we set clear, measurable targets that helps us stay on track and enables us to track our progress together. So you always know where you are. And finally, we're going to solve these challenges using the launch code. So we'll tap into those principles I've just described, mix and match them as needed. We'll use worksheets, targeted discussions, other tools to help you find your focus and solutions to your biggest challenges. In terms of the best practices, we'll schedule each session well in advance so both of us can prepare in advance for our discussion. After each session, you'll receive a short summary of the key decisions and next steps, so you're absolutely clear on what to do next. And we'll review the goals we set at the start regularly so you can track your progress. Now, at this stage, you're probably wondering, okay, what does all this cost? Well, here's the thing. I work one-on-one with startup founders and business owners. They normally pay thousands of euros each month over many months. Okay, so I do these really intense programs with startup founders, and I understand that not everyone can make a long-term commitment. Okay, at a premium price, and it's not just COVID, but your early stage businesses, you want to kind of get this, kind of build a base of funds you can use to develop the company. But I really believe that this personal mentoring that I'm making available to you will absolutely benefit you, and that's why I'm making it available at a fraction of the price. So the special offer I want to share with you today, based on my standard rate, okay, if you booked 3 1-hour-long personal mentoring sessions, it'll cost you 699 euros, okay, and they need to be used over the course of a 1 month, okay, but you're not going to pay that price, okay. What I want to offer you today is an exclusive webinar only package that's going to be 399 euros. Okay, that's 3 1-hour-long personal mentoring sessions held over a period of 3 months or shorter, depending on what you'd like, for only 399 euros. This, what I call the triple impact mentoring package, is a 43% discount off of my normal rates. So it really is a special opportunity. Now, you might be asking yourself, what can we possibly do in 3 1-hour-long sessions? Well, here's the thing. My experience tells me we can do a lot. Okay, just by reframing the problem and putting it into a different perspective can free up a bunch of solutions you never even thought possible. And I just want to give you one really specific example. Earlier this month, I was mentoring the founder of a sweets delivery business. Okay, and they were having problems getting their inbound interest from their customers. And we looked at the situation together and realized that this founder had been communicating his offer to customers in a really rational way, when in fact, as I discovered, people order premium cakes and champagne for emotional reasons, right? They want to provide as a gift to friends. They want to enjoy that moment with their loved ones. And just by changing his point of view, we were able to restructure his communication, and he saw an immediate uplift in his sales. So, and we achieved this, by the way, in 1 single hour session. So imagine what we could do together over 3 sessions using the launch code and its 10 principles to address your most important challenges. Now, here's the thing. I've been doing these webinars now since last fall, and there's quite a bit of incoming interest for these free sessions, and then ultimately for these sort of special offers. And I've overwhelmed with the number of incoming entrepreneurs. So I'm really making this available just for a limited time and for the first 5 teams or people who take action today. So how do you do this? If you want to take advantage of this offer, book a free 30-minute strategy session with me by this Sunday. What I mean by that is you should go on the link that's currently available in the chat. Okay, it says book your free strategy session here. You should go onto the Calendly link, book it right now, and make sure you book it by Sunday, February 28th for the next couple of weeks whenever you see there's an opening. You'll also, by the way, get this link in the email that you'll see as a follow-up to this webinar. But the problem is a lot of these sessions fill up very quickly. So if you're interested, I would encourage you to take action right now by clicking on the link. As a next step, when you click on the link, you're going to be taken to a page that looks like this. Okay, just choose a time that suits you, and you'll be taken to a second page that looks like this. Please remember to put the word webinar into the space marked. Please share anything that will help prepare for a meeting. Okay, because because then I'll know that you can actually take advantage of the special offer. Okay. Next, show up for your strategy session at the scheduled time. And please, if you book the meeting, please do show up. For whatever reason, if something comes up, then please cancel it using Calendly, because I'm limiting the number of people that can take advantage of this offer, and you're taking that space away from somebody else who might need it if you decide not to show up. But I hope that if you book it, that you do show up. If after a session you're satisfied with our discussion and you want to appoint me as your personal mentor, you just have to sign up for the triple impact package I just described. Okay, that's the 3 1-hour sessions for 399 euros, and we can do all the administrative stuff. And really all that's left to do after that is to start working together to really address your biggest challenges and help you experience the benefits of clarity and comfort. I also want to just highlight the fact that in these type of instances, you're always thinking about the investment and is the cost worth it? I just want to challenge you to think from what is not only the cost of working and taking advantage of this opportunity, what is the cost of not doing it? What are you losing out on by not taking action to get the answers you need to start accelerating your business growth? That, I think, is the real cost of inaction. I think that's something you should keep in mind. But I also want to make sure you're 100% clear. There's absolutely no requirement or commitment, okay, to sign up for this, basically to sign up for this this triple impact package. If after the free follow-up consultation, we'll discuss your value proposition, whatever goals you have, you decide you don't want to commit to further pet personal mentoring, you are absolutely under no obligation to sign up for any other sessions. No questions asked, okay? So it's absolutely up to you and dependent on whether you feel like I would be able to help you, okay? So that should not be an obstacle for you to sign up for the 30-minute free consultation. So we've reached the final bit of the of today's webinar, and I just want to double check if there are any questions. I see that Patrick is asking, I've already scheduled the session right at the beginning of this webinar, but put in the webinars, my comments, not webinars. So Patrick, thanks for telling me. I'll keep that in mind. I'll know that you have, in fact, responded from the for the webinar, so don't worry about it. That's not a problem at all. I'm just checking to see if there are any other questions. So there's a question here about how can I apply my value proposition statement to various parts of my business? So here's the thing. I would take it at a strategic level and the business level. So on a strategic level, a value proposition creates clarity about exactly what your company does and why customers should care, okay? And so this has a knock-on effect for the entire organization because it makes sure your product, your sales and team are aligned and you're heading in the right direction. Okay, that's the strategic stuff. On the business side, it's going to really impact your sales and marketing, okay? So that communication messaging, okay, that I talk about, that's part of what I call the launch code framework, and how you approach your outbound sales and your inbound marketing. So you will apply it strategically as well as on a business level. Okay, so there's another question here from Robert. What if I can't identify a single key benefit to include in my value proposition? Okay, so this is a great question because I get this a lot. Remember that step number 4 about what's your key benefit? I've done this process literally hundreds of times, so I can tell you that this is normally the most difficult element of the value proposition to nail down, because normally you have so many things you want to communicate about product or service. And what I would really encourage you to do is to resist the temptation to list everything and really decide on one, at least at the start, see how it feels and resonates with your target customer. And you can always revisit it later and choose a different one. And my favorite analogy, the one example I often use is if you think about just about the value of communicating a single key benefit. If you go to the drugstore or the store and you want to buy toothpaste, I'm sure you've had this experience. You'll go to the toothpaste aisle and you will see literally 50 different brands of toothpaste, and each brand of toothpaste has a bunch of individual type of sub-brands. So and each of them has their own claim. So one is freshens your breath, the other one whitens your teeth, the third one prevents cavities, the fourth one removes stains from smoking. Chemically, all of these toothpaste are basically the same product, for all intents and purposes. Yet each version of the toothpaste is positioned to appeal to a specific problem, and this is what attracts the perfect audience for each type of toothpaste. So if you're a smoker, you're going to buy the toothpaste that appeals to smokers. If you're worried about how white your teeth are, then you're going to buy the toothpaste that whitens your teeth. So don't try to be everyone's favorite toothpaste. Okay, that's quote of the day. Choose your niche and be the best toothpaste for that specific problem, and you'll be selling a lot of toothpaste. So another question here from Sylvia. How often should I revisit the value proposition? Okay, good question. your value proposition should be, I think it should be really front and center and incorporated into your day-to-day communication with clients and with your team. Having said that, I also believe that your value proposition will evolve as you gather more feedback and experience from your customers. So it's a good idea to revisit it once a quarter and to make sure it still feels right. All right. If it doesn't, don't be afraid to make adjustments. Once you find yourself not adjusting your value proposition, it's likely that you'll be at a very close to achieving what's called product market fit, which is basically the point at which you really realize you're communicating the right thing to the right people and the interest grows. So I'm just going to ask again, if there are any more questions, please list them in the chat now. Just give anybody a couple of seconds to do that. Okay. Do you prepare version A and B and test them? Okay, so Patrick, again, that's a good question. Well, look, I would encourage you to choose one and to start communicating your value proposition to one particular audience, okay, with that one, and then to see if there's response to that. And then if that doesn't work or you feel like it's not really clear, then to choose another value proposition and start communicating that. The reason I would be careful about testing two different value propositions at the same time, because your communication should really be consistent across all of your platforms, you're going to get a confused customer if they're seeing value proposition A on your website and value proposition B on your social media, right? It's going to be confusing. So rather than thinking about it as an A/B test, okay, I would consider it more to be choose one, give it time to break, and if it doesn't work, then make adjustments. The only difference I would say is if you're testing ad campaigns. So advertising is a classic example. If you're doing digital advertising, you can highlight two different campaign messages and do A/B testing and then see which one works better. That's absolutely fine. But in terms of your overall value proposition, I would not do two at the same time, but just do them one after the other. Okay, any more questions? Okay, well, with that, I want to take this opportunity to thank you all for attending my webinar. I hope you found my 5-step process for creating a high impact value proposition useful, and that you're now going to be able to explain why your target customer should buy what you're selling in a simple, easy to understand sentences. I also hope that this has given you one more reason to stand by your dream of creating a new business, and that you will stick with it long enough to experience all the incredible rewards that come with creating something out of nothing. I hope to meet many of you over the coming 2 weeks for our free 30-minute follow-up strategy session. Please take advantage of it. It's absolutely free, no obligations. It's an opportunity for us to get to know each other and for me to help you on the spot to solve any problems you have. So please book that time, and I look forward to helping you and your businesses blast off. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful day.